So we just decided to go get our 2017 fishing license to cover us for this season. And we decided, me and the girls, we wanted to go do some catfishing right away. So, as you can see, there's still some ice in these coves. We're down at Ellis Park in Cedar Rapids, and there's still some ice down here inside of the park, and we're still locked up at the houseboats, and over there is main Ellis Park, and you can see there's still ice in it, but we're still gonna try and fish. One of the things that happened to us today, earlier, actually just recently, I threw the cast net in this little cove, and we caught a mess of shad. So we caught a whole mixing bowl full of shad. I didn't even bring a real big bucket because I figured, okay, well, we don't really have anything to, actually I was kind of thinking that we weren't really going to catch anything as far as shad throwing the cast net. I figured they'd all be out deep, they wouldn't be out shallow. But one of the things that happened today, it actually got up in the sun to about 70 degrees. So what they did was they came up into this cove and they moved up into these little pockets and into these shallows to kind of warm up, and they stayed here while the sun went down. So what I'm doing, I just kind of threw the cast net over into these corners over here and hauled in a huge amount of big shad. And these aren't just these little, silver dollar shad. These are really big gizzard shad. I mean, there's my hand right next to one. So we caught some pretty good sized shad. We are gonna go out. We're gonna try and find a good spot to try and catch some catfish. We're gonna cut these shad up. So we're gonna use little chunks, because what you wanna make sure of when you're catfishing in colder weather is that you want to try and use smaller bait, especially for channels and for flatheads and things like that. They'll eat a lot smaller of baits when the water's cold. Blues, it doesn't matter. Blues, they'll hit anything, especially during the winter. They actually get kind of active during the winter. So right now, we're gonna take these shad, we're gonna try and find a good spot where there's some open water, maybe a current seam or something like that, and plunk some rods in and see if we can't catch any fish. So get back to us. We'll see you at the spot. So we decided to go maybe about 100 yards down the riverbank. We were just all the way over there. Now we drove all the way down here, down the houseboat lane, all the way, and we parked right there. And we have plunked our rods into the water with some cut up shad. I've had a couple small bites, nothing big yet, but we're still hopeful. We got our rods set up. As you can see, I've got my Abu Garcia right there, set up into a pole holder that's stuck in the ground. I've got my line. Running all the way into a bite alarm. And then I've got it up and it's casted right kind of over there, kind of by that rocky point. So I've got all my other poles set up accordingly. And got my Sharky all set up with the bait runner system in open, and we are literally just waiting for a bite. This pole right here that's out closer to the main channel was getting a bite a couple of minutes ago, but right now I think they're just to that point right now where they're just a little bit inactive. They're coming out of that winter drag, and they are just kind of chilling right now, and we got to try and find them over them trying to find us. So they're all probably got their bellies down in the mud, and they're kind of chilling right now until the weather warms up a little more. Like I said, again, today it was almost 70 degrees, so hopefully that kicks them up a little bit and gets them a little more active, but it's going to take a lot more days. It's going to take a lot more days to be able to get them really active. So again, we're going to keep trying until we catch something. If we do catch something, we'll definitely let you know. So here we are in the middle of Cedar Rapids in the city trying to catch fish. So that spot really wasn't working out for us, so we were going to move. We're going to go to a different spot that is closer to the dam. It's down by the 5-in-1 in Cedar Rapids. So we're going to try and plunk in down there and see if we can't catch anything. We're going to actually size our baits down a little bit more this time. So we'll see you guys down there when we get there. So here we are at our new fishing spot. This is the 5-in-1 dam in Cedar Rapids. The Cedar actually runs underneath Highway 380, and it goes through this really large dam system. It's here for a lot of flood protection and things like that. They open it up and close it whenever the water gets high or low, and it seems to be a pretty good spot to try and catch some catfish, especially if you want to kind of stay in town. Right now we haven't been hitting a whole lot of our out-of-town spots because I've got to stay close to town because my wife, she's 9 months pregnant and she's ready to pop that baby out anytime soon. So we want to make sure that we stay a little bit close. She's at work right now, and I just want to stay close just in case she starts having the baby. But the nice part about this spot is you can literally drive up to it, sit in your car, and watch your rods. The only bad part about this spot, it's not really secluded. There's usually a lot of people down here. Usually not this early in the season. We're getting out here pretty early. I mean, the ice literally just got off the water. So we are down here by ourselves for once, and we drove up to our spot where it's getting a little brisk out, so we're gonna kind of sit in the car and with the heater on, maybe listen to some tunes with the kids, and watch our rods. We've got our vital alarms on, so if anything happens, we will all know about it, and I will turn on the camera, and you can hopefully see us catch a fish. If we don't, oh well. If we do, great. It's just something fun that I can do with the kids, and have them all real close to me and be able to hang out and enjoy the outdoors. So we weren't able to catch a catfish today. We had a couple good bites. For some reason they just didn't want to commit to it. Right now what we're going to do is we're going to try and catch some more bait so we can freeze it for later on. Sometimes what happens is times get kind of thin on bait. Sometimes you just can't find shad. We don't really have a boat with a depth finder or a fish finder or anything crazy cool like that to pick up some of these schools of shad. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw the cast in a couple times, see if we can't catch some more of these big shad so we can freeze them for later. Because even frozen shad still catches some pretty big catfish. And I haven't caught shad this big in a while. Usually we catch kind of the silver dollar size, you know, shad to use for these catfish, and they work pretty good for cut bait and stuff like that, but sometimes you have to put 2 or 3 on your hook to be able to you know, find a sizable meal for some of these catfish. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and throw the cast net a couple times, see if we can't catch a couple more. We're back in the same spot that we were earlier today, so the kids are sleeping in the car, so it's a perfect time for me to have a little bit of peace and quiet and be able to go and throw the cast net, try and catch some shad. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to catch a couple more so we can freeze them up, put them in some gallon freezer bags, put them in the freezer. I'm sure Mama's going to like that a lot, having dead fish in the freezer. But for right now, it's about all we can do. It's a little early in the season. There's still ice on the water, but that still doesn't mean that we can't catch catfish. Like I said earlier, you just got to put it in front of their face. You've got to seek them out, because right now they're just kind of sitting there with their bellies in the mud, waiting for something to come by, waiting for the river to wash something by them. So we'll see. We're going to keep trying. We are going to keep trying to catch catfish. Met a guy down there earlier today. He was trying to catch walleyes, and he still couldn't catch walleyes. So not ragging on him or anything, but at the same time, you know, the bite is kind of slow right now, so I'm sure it'll pick up here soon. Some more of these nice warm days, and we'll be back out and back at it. So we will see you guys in a minute. I'm going to try and catch some shad. I'd say that's about enough shad, huh? Yeah. Alright, so like I said, we didn't catch any catfish, but we caught plenty of bait. Found a nice little hole where we could find some decent quality size shad in. So tonight we're gonna call it a night. It's just one of them things, you know. Sometimes that's why they call it fishing and not catching, right? Sometimes you catch them and sometimes you don't. Like I said, we're not gonna quit fishing. We're not gonna quit trying to get out here and catch some of these catfish. So we will be signing off for now. But tomorrow, maybe the next day, we're not sure. We're gonna try and shoot for Sunday. I'm sure of it. Yeah, we're gonna try and shoot for Sunday. We're gonna be back out trying to catch more catfish with our frozen shad if we can't catch any more. I've got to do a few repairs on the cast net because I caught a log. So I've got to mend a couple holes and reattach a couple pieces of the monofilament that are in there. So we will be back at it soon. So we will see you guys again in Iowa's Outdoors.